The next time you see someone at the gym in the morning or playing tennis in the afternoon, don't only think about how healthy they are, but also think about what's their level of wealth. There's an old age saying that health is wealth, but is wealth also health? Let's find out. A healthy person has 1,000 wishes, but a sick person only has one wish. Guess what it is? To be healthy. And while on this channel I focus a lot about financial health, I really wanted to take some time to talk about physical health and just like overall health in general, especially how wealth and health are connected. As I get older, being healthy is one of the things that's so important to me. I think about as I'm getting older, I still want to be able to do all the things that I enjoy, whether it's going hiking or going to play tennis in the afternoons. Especially as I get older, taking care of my health has become a greater priority. And in fact, it's one of the most important reasons why I think getting wealthy is so important, because of that correlation with health. You're able to invest more into yourself, into becoming the healthiest version of yourself. While I was doing research to determine what the correlation is between health and wealth, here are some of the things that I found out. There was a correlation between the higher levels of wealth that you have, the lower the levels of mortality that you had. There was a positive association between wealth and self-reported health. So people that had more wealth generally felt healthier. Also, the greater one's wealth was, the lower the chances of premature death, and those who exercised generally had higher levels of income. So based on this, it seems like wealthier people are healthier. Do you need to be healthier to be wealthier? Or do you need to be wealthier to be healthier? Let's dig into it. So when does better health improve your wealth? One of the reasons is medical expenses are generally really expensive, and medical debt is actually one of the leading causes of bankruptcy. So if you have better health, there's a higher chance that you won't go into medical debt, and long-term your financial future will look a lot better. Healthier people generally have fewer job interruptions and longer careers. So that's important, because if you have to take a pause from work, that impacts your earnings, how much you're able to save and invest. And likewise, if your career is cut short because of health problems, you might be missing out on the best earning years of your life. So if you're missing out on those years, again, that's money that you're not able to save, not able to invest, and that can have a negative impact on your long-term financial future. Imagine if you had to retire at 35 and you weren't ready for it, versus you've been working for 20, 30 years and you're retiring at 55. I think that will have a big impact. And I think actually, if you look at high earners like athletes or entertainers, they have really great careers, but they generally are shorter term. And let's say the retirement age is like 35. If they're not prepared for that, then the years after 35, once they retire, I think it'd be really difficult. So you really need to make sure that you're saving and investing or finding ways to prolong that career. And then job performance. If you're healthier, you're more likely to do better at your job, better job performance, and which in the long run will lead to more promotions and getting paid more. And I've noticed that in myself. So when I take care of my health, when I'm exercising regularly, whether that's doing yoga, playing tennis, eating better, I've noticed that my performance at work is a lot better. It gives me a lot more confidence. I'm able to perform better when I'm giving presentations, whether that's to the CEO or CFO of the company. Okay, now let's look at the other side. Does better wealth improve your health? So higher paid employees with more wealth are generally likely to have better health insurance. So better health insurance means probably lower deductibles, which means if, let's say you get an injury, you're more likely to take care of it right away instead of letting it fester, which could cause that health problem to get worse. And then in the long run, that could impact your career as well. If you're wealthier, you can generally afford to have a gym membership, to have a personal trainer, which again will improve your health as well. Actually, one of my goals this year is to hire a coach for tennis to improve my game and get better. And also to motivate me to get out there more, play more, meet some people, and just generally, I think it'll be a great way to improve my health as well. And if you're wealthier, you can generally afford better food. So instead of going to fast food restaurants, you're going to better restaurants that have better quality food. You're also probably shopping at Whole Foods, so one of my favorite grocery stores. So you're getting things that don't have preservatives in them. You're probably shopping organic. So again, better for your health in the long run. And there's also the fact that money problems can cause stress. So if you're not doing well financially, If you're struggling to pay bills, that can have a negative impact on your health as well. And then there was also a research done by the Urban Institute that found that those with lower levels of income had reported higher levels of sadness and hopelessness. All right, so that explains how wealth leads to health and how health leads to wealth. So there's definitely a correlation between the two, and they both go hand in hand. But let's look at some other factors. So there was a Harvard study done, and they found that those who felt a drop in wealth mobility, so essentially if they went bankrupt, they lost their job, in general their level of wealth status decreased, they had a higher risk of cardiovascular illness. While on the flip side, if your wealth mobility has increased, so whether that's you've gotten a promotion or you're now making a lot more money because you have investments, those generally led to lower chances of cardiovascular events. So in general, it seems that as you get wealthier, the chances of negative health events gets better. The study also found that health and wealth are so closely related that you can't look at them separately. And I think that's so important. Like I think one of the flaws with the medical system in North America is that we focus so much on the outcome instead of the solution. So for example, if you're sick and you've got a headache, you're gonna get pain meds to get rid of that headache. If you got pain, you're gonna get painkillers to get rid of that pain. But it's not getting to the root of that problem. What's causing you to have pain in the first place? What's causing you to have headaches in the first place? And I think that's one of the benefits of as you get wealthier, you're able to dig deeper in the medical system. So you're not just going to like your general practitioner and saying, hey, I've got a headache, prescribe me something to get rid of that headache, but you're actually able to work with professionals to figure out what's causing you that headache. Maybe you need a certain type of sleep environment. Maybe you need a certain type of mattress or pillow that's gonna help you. Or maybe your water needs to be filtered. There's so many possibilities of what could be causing that headache. And I think when you have wealth, you're actually able to dig into it. And I think that's like the privilege of having health. You're able to, or the privilege of having wealth is you're able to get the best health outcomes. Again, these are all generalities. Even if you wanted better health outcomes, you still have to put in the effort and take the right steps. You can't just be making a lot of money and then eating like garbage. Okay, so I did some research on what are some subtle signs of health and how they relate to wealth. So let's take a look. So the first one was having sound sleep. You're getting good sleep. You don't have so much anxiety while going to bed that it keeps you up all night. And I think this is a great way to also measure your health, because if let's say you're making so much money and you're stressed all the time and you can't sleep, then what's the point of all that money? And on the flip side, when you don't have money, that can cause restless nights as well. I realized that when I was stressed financially that I would get back pain and I felt more exhausted, and it actually impacted my quality of sleep. And I think that's like a continuous cycle where you get bad sleep and then the next day you're tired, so you probably make bad decisions. These bad decisions compound. So if you're able to get to the root of the problem, I think in the long run that just helps your overall levels of wealth and health. The second subtle sign of health that I found was having a positive outlook on the future. And I think that's key, because if you're healthier, you generally have a positive outlook. For example, you might think that you're gonna live for another 50, 60 years, versus if you didn't have good health, you might think, okay, this is like,
the end is close.
And this positive outlook really comes in handy when investing, because one of the biggest mistakes people make when investing is, whether it's in a business venture or investing in the stock market, is they lose money and then they don't reinvest into the market thinking that the market doesn't work. And that can be so detrimental to your long-term wealth. But if you have a positive outlook, you have that healthy mindset, then even though you will lose money, in the long run that the value of those stocks will go up and you'll continue to invest into the market. The next one is the ability to focus and have mental clarity. And that's again another important one, because if you don't have focus and you don't have that clarity, then you, again, like similar to the previous example, if the market goes down and you're negative, you might be like, okay, the stock market doesn't work. But if you have that focus and clarity, then you understand that, okay, the market's down right now, but in the long run, the market generally goes up, so you won't sell out and you'll continue to invest into the stock market for your long-term wealth. And the next one is having balanced energy throughout the day. This is another one that's so important because having that balanced energy in the long run is not only better for you from a health perspective, but also better financially. Again, coming back to that stock market example, if the stock market goes down and it makes you feel like crap, then that's not a good thing. And if the stock market goes up a lot and it gets you really excited, that's not good either, because yes, the stock market makes you money and it's exciting and fun, but ideally investing should not be fun. It should be boring. You should be letting your money compound at 8 to 10% yearly, and it's over decades where you really see that growth, and not get so worried about what's happening in the day-to-day. And another thing that's really stood out to me that I've learned this year is the compounding nature of health. There's a lot of talk about the compounding nature of wealth, but not so much about compounding on the health side. So I want to take a moment here and really talk about what that means. So most people, they think, okay, I'm going to retire at the age of 65, 55, whatever it might be. And that's when I'm going to learn sailing. I'm going to learn to play tennis or whatever activity that they want to pick up. But people don't realize is the compounding nature. So if you're starting at the age of 55, you might not be very good at tennis. You might play once or twice and be like, hey, this isn't for me. But the reason you haven't really experienced like the joys of tennis yet is because you haven't let your skills compound. And that's why it's so important not to say, okay, I'm gonna focus on my wealth right now and then focus on my health later, but to really focus on both at the same time. So again, coming back to that example of tennis, like my goal is to learn right now while I'm in my early 30s. And the beauty of that is as I get older, I'll continue to improve my tennis game. But then when I'm also like 55, 65, because I'll have already developed those skills of tennis, not only will I enjoy it when I'm older, but I'll also be able to play it because I've already developed those skills. And that's one of my goals for this year, is to have a coach that's gonna train me to improve my game. So don't wait to work on your health or your wealth. Work on both of them at the same time because they're both so interconnected. Do something for your health on a daily basis. Do something for your wealth on a daily basis. Let both of them compound, because you're gonna thank yourself decades down the road. And if you're interested in another video on the subtle signs of wealth, definitely check it out next, and I will see you on the next video.